Hey everybody, Mike B back with another Vietnam War video. Today we're going to be talking about patches, specifically for the Army or the Air Force, and sometimes the Marines, their name tapes and such. And like kind of how common they were, what the prevalence was, why you don't see a lot of pictures of guys in the field with them. It's not necessarily for the reason that you might think, like the whole security thing. You don't want to know what units or whatever the Viet Cong knew. They're not dumb. But anyway, so what happens is, like, so these uniforms, the jungle fatigues, are extremely comfortable. They're well made, but they are cotton, right? So when you're out there and you're in that environment and you're constantly putting wear and tear on them and just beating the shit out of them constantly, they're gonna rip, they're gonna tear, they're gonna rot, all that stuff. They don't last as long as like nylon and cotton. They breathe a hell of a lot better than nylon cotton, but they just don't last as long, which is probably why the Army went to that material instead of just straight up cotton. So what happens is you end up going through uniforms really quickly, right? And a lot of the infantry guys for the Army and the Marine Corps, they were out on patrol so much, they'd come back in for a couple days maybe at a time. This is again from talking to Vietnam vets and then looking at historical evidence, all that stuff. So that's where I'm basing this off of. They'd come in for a couple days, relax, and then they'd go right back out, and while they were here, or not here, but like at the base, or wherever their base was, they would have to clean their weapons, get new equipment if they needed it, right? New jungle fatigues, new whatever. Sometimes you got new uniforms out in the field, which we'll talk about in a second. But they had to do a bunch of stuff, so it's really not relaxing. It's just more like, doing maintenance and shit and getting ready for the next time you go out. So then you go out again, rinse and repeat. Now, a lot of units were actually out in the bush for months at a time. Now this is just insane. I can't imagine this, how this would be psychologically. So a lot of times, if you've seen that video of me opening up an original box of 35 of these, right? A lot of times what they'd do is they'd airlift in with helicopters supplies like ammunition, food, and then they'd also give uniforms and stuff like that, and water if they could. And one of those things being uniforms. So what they do is they try to get a bunch of different sizes together. Maybe, they wouldn't have like an unopened box, but they'd have a box that they put, smalls, mediums, and maybe a couple larges in, and the pants and stuff. And the chopper would come down, they'd kick them off the thing, and that way you can just change into a new uniform out in the field, right? So you'd have a new uniform. Again, it's only gonna last a few days. It's really wet, and you're always gonna be sweating, and there's gonna be a lot of salt. And then if you're in combat, you've got to be diving and going under shit, crawling on the ground. Stuff's just gonna tear. So what happens is, I'm getting to the point about patches. So kind of like in World War I, with the U.S. not really having a lot of rank on their sleeves and stuff, is because you're just going through so many uniforms. It's going to be hard to find the time to either do it yourself or have like a local tailor or something, like a Vietnamese tailor or even a U.S. tailor, actually take the time to find you a unit patch, all right? And if you were there before, find you a combat patch, find your name tapes, right? Get those printed up, find your U.S. Army tape, whatever else you had on here. It's going to be hard to find that time. I mean, you might have one set that you keep for like ceremonies and stuff, like inspection, with all your stuff on it. But a lot of the times it was just because they simply went through so many uniforms so frequently that it's like, fuck it. Like, why would I spend all that time? Everybody knows who everybody is. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to wear rank. You don't need to wear your patches and all that shit. So it's like, it got to that point where a lot of people just stopped wearing unit patches, right? I have this tricked out for like an example of an inspection one. So if somebody has questions or stuff at an event, because I'm going to start probably going to events doing Vietnam. If somebody has questions and stuff, I can explain, why the patches are in the spots that they are. But usually if I was doing like in the bush thing, right, like an immersion thing or something, like for a movie, I'd just be wearing a sanitized uniform. I was going to say sanitary, but like, yeah. All right, sanitized uniform, that's all I'd wear, right? So, yeah, I mean, you see a lot, like towards the end of the war, the guys got the little rank pins, which were a lot easier than wearing the subdued chevrons here. You got the rank pins. Those are easy to take off one uniform, pop on the other, but still it doesn't matter because like everybody knows who everybody is anyway, so why would you do that? So it's not this cryptic like, oh, we want to be tactical and not have the enemy know what units are where and how many people there are. Dude, the Viet Cong had people in the base working with the Americans who were reporting everything that they were doing, what units there were, how many there were, how many people came in, what supplies they had. So it's like that whole thing is just to me, an urban legend. Feel free to rebut that with some facts, but I just don't see that as like an actual truth. I just think it's because you go through so many freaking uniforms. It's like, why would you take the time to constantly get new patches or take these ones off, you know, and do that? So that's just kind of what I've got to say about the patches on Vietnam uniforms. Marines, sometimes you'll see the name tags with Marines. Same thing with them. They're getting issued new shit all the time. Everybody knows who everybody is, unless you have an inspection fatigue set, which, you know, it's have your last name and U.S. Marines, and then probably an Eagle Globe anchored right here on the pocket, the iron-on. Generally don't see a lot of that. And then Air Force, yep, your name, Air Force, and then maybe your rank. Those are usually, those guys were on a base more so that they'd have more time to do this, and it mattered because they're being seen by different personnel and stuff. Well, there's things moving around. But again, a lot of Air Force guys that I've talked to said they just wore sanitized fatigues. So there you go. Think of it what you will. Hope you learned something from this video. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. I'm enjoying talking about this. Vietnam is a really big interest. The Vietnam War is a really big interest of mine. Always has been. It's actually akin to like World War II for everyone, you know? It's been a really big area of interest, and it's really neat to be able to still talk to the veterans, and they've still got a few years left, most of them. Pretty cool people. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're a Vietnam vet, again, I'm not trying to step on your feet or anything. This is just what I've done from research and interviewing vets myself, and, you know, hanging out with them and having a couple of beers and stuff. But and then watching interviews online, you know, that stuff. This is just what I've compiled and kind of the reasoning that I've got. It's also consistent with what people say. So feel free to comment if you know, got an experience, you were in Vietnam or something like that. And yeah, we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, and also consider supporting the channel directly, which is in the description. Become a supporter of the channel. Any amount helps for when I do ballistic tests and use up ammo and shoot at targets and stuff. Just kind of, you know, $1 is even fine. Like, I'm not gonna beggars can't be choosers, but, you know, anything really helps. So consider doing that. If not, that's fine too. Just hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video.